So, the last episode of Star Citizen Live was supposed to be a routine developer discussion, but instead it turned into one of the most candid and revealing conversations we've seen from Clan Pierre Games in a long time. Joining Jarek Huckabee were Chief Technology Officer Benoit Beauséjour and Director of Gameplay Programming Jens Madsen. And rather than sticking to the planned schedule, the team decided to spend most of the broadcast addressing two major server incidents that affected Star Citizen over the past 2 weeks. The result was a surprisingly transparent look behind the curtain, explaining not only what went wrong, but also what CIG plans to do to prevent similar issues in the future. The first incident occurred with Star Citizen Alpha 4.8.2 and involved the Idris. According to Benoit, an older performance fix that had been checked into a separate hotfix branch accidentally found its way into the main 4.8.2 build. The problem was that player persistence data still expected the previous version of the Idris. When the server attempted to spawn one of those chips, it encountered incompatible data and refused to continue. Rather than risking corruption, the server would shut down, restart, attempt to spawn the Idris again, and immediately crash once more. As more players retrieved their Idrises across the universe, additional servers began entering the same crash loop. To stabilize the situation, CIG temporarily disabled Idris spawning, isolated affected shards, brought additional server capacity online, and manually repaired affected ships until a permanent solution could be deployed. The second incident involved the VGL flight suit during 4.8.1 cycle. A fix intended to solve missing hands and feet accidentally removed critical suit components entirely. Any attempt to equip the suit referenced data that no longer existed, causing the server to crash. While the specific causes were different, Benoit explained that both incidents shared the same root system. Changes that should never have been allowed into a live build managed to bypass existing validation systems. One of the most interesting parts of the discussion came when Benoit described how Star Citizen's development has evolved. Individual teams already have safeguards for their own work. The economy team validates economy changes, the weapons team validates weapon changes, mission designers validate mission rewards, the crafting team validates crafting data. The problem is that Star Citizen systems are becoming increasingly interconnected. A weapon might be balanced correctly by the weapons team, crafting materials might be balanced correctly by the crafting team. However, when those systems interact, entirely new problems can emerge. Benoit provided an example where a weapon costing about 20,000 credits could be dismantled into materials worth about 80,000 credits. Neither systems was technically broken, but nobody was validating the relationship between them. His conclusion was simple: human oversight is no longer enough. CIG is now building automated validation tools capable of checking relationships across multiple gameplay systems before changes are allowed into the game. According to Benoit, this work is already on the way and considered an immediate priority. Not everything discussed during the stream was negative. Benoit highlighted one of the major successes of Alpha 4.8, new entitlement system. The system separates ownership data, ship loadouts, and player customization from the traditional patch cycle. In practical terms, it significantly reduces the risk of players losing ships and other assets whenever a major update is deployed. The team also introduced new backend technology, allowing certain game data to be modified across patches without requiring full resets. While currently limited to crafting-related data, the long-term goal is to fully create a compatible persistence that can survive future updates without generating the source of conflict that caused the Idris incident. The discussion then shifted towards one of the community's biggest concerns: server performance and desync. According to the developers, some server meshes continue to run below their target performance threshold of 20 servers FPS. Importantly, this refers to server simulation speed rather than player frame rates. This helps explain why player experiences vary so dramatically from one session to another. Some shards perform exceptionally well, while others become overloaded by specific bottlenecks. The team identified multiple areas currently under active optimization, including AI navigation calculation, NPC spawning systems, area management locks, ship cleanup processes, and environmental simulation systems such as fire and temperature grids. Both Benoit and Jens emphasize that optimization remains a moving target. Solving one bottleneck often reveals another hidden behind it. However, between 6 and 8 specific server optimizations are currently being developed for future updates. One topic that will likely resonate with many players involved inventory reliability. The developers revealed that a seemingly small backend issue affecting only a tiny fraction of service requests was responsible for creating inventory delays lasting up to 8 minutes. Because inventory actions must occur in a strict sequence, the client cannot simply predict outcomes. If the backend hesitates, players experience the now familiar delays associated with equipping gear, moving items, or retrieving cargo. The underlying backend issue has already been fixed. However, CIG acknowledged that the game's resilience to backend failures still requires significant work. To address this, the studio has begun auditing every major gameplay system according to a red, yellow, green reliability framework. The primary goal is ensuring that player-owned items remain protected whenever possible, even if services fail during a transaction. For cargo holders, this is particularly important. The team specifically referenced the category of issues where freight elevators or backend failures appear to consume player cargo, which is exactly what happened, as yesterday I lost 1.2 million Alpha UC worth of fluorine. Another topic discussed was shard lock. Star Citizen's modern architecture allows players to move between shards dynamically rather than being permanently tied to a single server. While this provides significant flexibility, it also introduces new complexities. A recent infrastructure issue related to character imprint data caused a subset of players to become trapped between states, especially after repeated relogs and character repairs. The issue has since been fixed, and CIG is implementing additional monitoring and automatic recovery systems to detect and resolve similar situations in the future. One particularly interesting statistic shared during the stream involved player growth. Compared to 2024, Star Citizen's daily active users have increased dramatically throughout 2026. In January, it's an increase of 30%, in February, an increase of 63%, March 50%, April 59.8%, May 14%, and June over 55%. Jared's point was clear here: success brings new challenges. The game's growing popularity means more players are interacting with systems at larger scales than ever before, exposing weaknesses that may not have appeared under lighter loads. The team confirmed that approximately 80 high-priority issues are currently being tracked for Alpha 4.9. Major focus areas include instant hangars, logging reliability, docking system, freight elevator, quantum travel, the star map, inventory functionality, and improvements to the first-hour player experience. The developers stressed that they are increasingly prioritizing root cause solutions rather than repeatedly fixing symptoms. Freight elevators were cited as a perfect example. While dozens of individual fixes were already implemented, the long-term goal is to improve the underlying systems that create these failures in the first place. This philosophy is expected to continue throughout Alpha 4.9, Alpha 4.10, and beyond. As far as Alpha 4.9 is concerned, it remains scheduled for mid-July. However, the team made it clear that no final decision has been made regarding its exact release strategy. If necessary, features may be delayed, content may be cut, or the patch itself may move in order to avoid repeating the problems seen with recent updates. The stronger message from this team was that CIG understands the seriousness of the recent incidents. This is not a marketing presentation, but the technical post-mortem. Benoit and Jens openly acknowledged the weaknesses in current validation systems, explained why they occurred, and outlined the solutions now being developed. Whether these solutions arrive in 4.9 or later remains to be seen, but if Star Citizen Live demonstrated anything, it's that the studio is taking these issues seriously and willing to discuss them publicly rather than pretending they never happened, and that is actually an improvement compared to what we have seen recently. For players frustrated by recent server instability, that level of transparency may be one of the most encouraging signs to come out of the broadcast, and hopefully we'll see more videos and shows like those. That is all for today, guys. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of this Star Citizen Live. Do you have perhaps more questions or more concerns that would not address during this episode? Let me know also in the comment section down below. I would not be able to make all of that content without my Patreon and YouTube members. If you too want to support the channel, you'll find the link in the description down below. A big shout out to Dr. Frobin, Socart Associates, The Key to Ducker, Shadowrise, and Zero Crusher. I've been the Eradicator. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.